Okay, we'll just go over some of the slicer settings here on printing these nuts. Important to get them to come out pretty. So like I said, depending on how you want it orientated, when you're finished will determine what side you want down. So on these bigger ones, the 5/16 ones, I like 0.12 layer height. You could probably go to a, if you really wanted to go to 0.2 you could, but the higher you go, the less, yeah, the more definition you're going to lose, the worse the print's going to look. So on your initial layer width, if you're in the habit of bumping up your first layer width and first layer flow, you're not going to want to do that on top of a raft. So I'm going to lower it to 105. So on our shell's not going to matter because we're going to want to go 100% on these. So 100% infill. The temperature is going to be critical on these, not just the nozzle but the bed. So right here on these little balls, they're going to be very thin, have very thin edges, and they're going to be overhanging, and they're going to want to curl. So to prevent that curl, you're going to want to make sure that you don't have your bed too hot, that you have your filament temperature as low as you can go, safely go, and you have sufficient fan, to moderate fan probably. But so this is eSun PLA Plus. 205 is usually the lower end, what you can get away with printing. Of course, that's going to slightly vary between machines. Build plate temperature, if you're used to 60, you might want to go to 50, 55. We're not going to do an higher initial first layer temperature since we're printing on a raft, probably not as important. Our initial layer flow, again, this is another one we don't want to bump up too much. 105 is where I have it. Your print speed, probably 30, 35. Go down here on your fan. Probably this is going to depend on your ambient and a lot of other things, but I'm thinking a good starting point for this print is going to be 50. So your supports, we're going to start a raft, so this obviously is going to need a raft. So we're going to set a raft. We're also going to turn up the raft print speed right here because it's set really low in Cura, so we're going to bump it up way high. You don't need a pretty raft. Then we're going to move on to supports. So you want supports everywhere, and you want the support angle, I keep it low, about 45. I want as much support down here as I can get on this curved section. And then I also want high support density, so my supports are not far apart. I want them close together. So this is the area that's going to have support in it, that's going to be a big pain in the butt. So I have a couple things I like to use for removing supports. One thing is I have these mini pliers, and I don't know where they came from, but one side is rounded and one side is squared, but the rounded side is really nice for getting inside without damaging stuff. So what I like to do is I like to get in here, and then we're just going to turn it, and we'll grab it here, turn it. Basically the crushing action tends to bust the supports free a lot, but just a crush, twist, and you can pop this out, and just try not to mess up this little lip.